meeting is being recorded.
All right, so we're giving this a try. This is a open test meeting for all of the issues and items that we're working with around the AdoptOpenJDK Quality Assurance Plan. We can discuss at the end of the meeting whether it's worth having this as a recurring meeting. I will probably propose that we have it recur in a bi-weekly fashion, and if it doesn't take 30 minutes to get through all our issues, excellent. It can be a short meeting. If it looks like we have a lot of topics, we can split it up into a couple of meetings, specifically with talking to the people who are working on the items. So if people have comments about that, feel free to additionally add stuff into this issue 1571. This is where I'm going to try to track what we talk about in the meeting and capture some minutes as well. Having said all that, let's see, who do we have joining the call? There's a lot of people from a lot of places that are working on items, and I want to thank you for joining the call. Maybe we can do a quick hello from different people on the call right now, and just say your name, maybe where you're working from, and the topic area you're working on. Who wants to start?
I'm Adam. I'm in Hursley working for IBM. And I'm not currently working on testing, but I do sometimes help out with triage and try and impose rotas on people. So I'm trying to stay up to date with AQA because it sounds very interesting.
Okay, cool. Others?
I'm Stuart. I work in Hursley as well with everyone else, or with a number of the other people on the call here. I'm on the AdoptOpenJDK TSC, and I manage mostly the infrastructure for AdoptOpenJDK and some of the build-related tooling as well.
My name is Jim Crowley. I'm over in the Poughkeepsie site at IBM. I've been helping Shelly and the Adopt team on redoing some of their Docker test loads. It's mostly for getting Jenkins to switch over from OpenJDK to Adopt. So I'm just stopping on by and helping out.
Cool. Thanks, Jim. And we'll talk specifically about some of the stuff today once we get to the roundtable. Who else we have? We have 12 participants.
I'm Jordan Cartwright. I'm also in the Poughkeepsie office, and I'm jumping on board with the kind of push to get Jenkins to switch over to OpenJDK, or AdoptOpenJDK, sorry. And gonna try to get involved with the test cleanup.
Yeah, beauty. And I want to make a push as well on this. So thanks for joining us today. We'll make a plan before the end of this call of how we'll merge things in the order in which we'll bring some stuff in this week. Others?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Jennifer. I'm working for Microsoft in Vancouver. I'm one of the new members in the Microsoft Java platform team, looking to make contributions to AdoptOpenJDK and also build the test foundation for my team.
Excellent. Welcome, Jennifer. Thanks for joining today. I know it's early for you.
Yeah, no problem. It's really nice to talk to you.
For sure. I'm looking forward to working with you this year. Okay, who else we have?
Hi, my name is Lan. I'm working for IBM in Ottawa, and I mainly work for AdoptOpenJDK and OpenJ9 test pipelines and test framework, and then TRSS as well. And we are all in the room, so I'll just pass around so people can introduce themselves as well.
Great.
Hi, this is Sophia. I work at IBM. Currently, I work for in AdoptOpenJDK test for OpenJDK and for the pipeline, and there's something about the Jenkins.
Nice.
Hi, this is Renfei. I'm working with Lan and Sophia and Longyu and Shirley for IBM and for the test team. and I'm mainly working for the test framework for AdoptOpenJDK and OpenJ9. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Lang Yu. I also work in the OpenJ9 test team. I also mainly work on the test frameworks.
Excellent. Anyone else on the call who wants to speak up?
Adam, also in Ottawa, not in the room though. I mostly
Can't find them.
I didn't get invited. No, it's okay. Mostly work on the OpenJ9 pipelines, but I sometimes touch the test pipelines as well. So that's where my expertise is.
Yeah, and we have one of your PRs that I want to bring in after the 18.1 release is complete. The reason I've delayed that is it requires some script
approvals. Yeah,
yeah.
No rush.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Simon Rushton in Hursley. Also work with Stuart and Adam on the AdoptOpenJDK release work, trying to get the releases out. So as a user of all of the test pipeline and so on, I'm very keen for them to be as slick and easy to use as we can. Try and get the back end part of the process very quick so that we can release very quickly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And feedback on this is so critical for us so that we know how to plan some of the features. Okay, do we miss anyone here? I think we've gone around. We normally wouldn't open this meeting with a roundtable the whole time because that's 10 minutes if we have a full room. But thanks everyone for joining. 2020 is going to be an exciting year. Let's dive into the agenda topics we have. And if there are other items people want to bring up, we can do in any other business at the end of the call. First, I want to get right into that external test overhaul. There's a few things happening all at the same time. One of them is a major large PR from Jim. Jim, I know I've pushed change in from Sophia to pull the nightly Docker builds. I pushed that in ahead of yours. I think you'll need to update yours before we do anything. But do you want to say a few words about the work you're doing?
Yeah. So the revamp was in order to test out new base images for Adopt. One of the issues I guess we're running into is to push unofficial images from Adopt into the official images in Docker Hub. We need to have test coverage. And one of the things that we need to do before we start supporting all these new base images is kind of revamp the Docker files. A lot of the Docker files had a lot of unneeded dependencies, and especially when we are trying to, install, a certain Debian package, and then we have to go look up what the equivalent package is on Alpine. It gets very frustrating, at least for me. Like, there's not a really good way to find out exactly, hey, this package is named this on this system. So the revamp was to slim down the images as much as possible, kind of make everything more standardized. If we're pulling in a external binary, check it against the SHAs, make sure everything lines up. So this revamp kind of lays the groundwork, so thus we can go ahead and add new base images and get the unofficial images testing, so we can get them into the official Docker Hub images.
Yeah, and I know Sophia also has a few. You picked up on a lot of the third-party application tests. Sophia's been tidying up the system test and functional tests, and making a few changes as well to make sure if the tests produce JUnit, that we are also able to see that through the Jenkins GUI to make it easier to triage. So given that, I think the next thing we'll want to merge in is your PR. If there are still existing failures, I think we can address them as afterwards.
Yeah.
Because rather than run grinders on everything and try to wait to be perfect, it'll be easier to see stuff after we merge.
Exactly.
And then I'll follow on with the couple from Sophia here. So if we can bring this in, if you update that, we can bring it in after the 18.1 builds finish, and then we can start triaging whatever's left.
Yeah, I can do that today. Pull in the nightly PR, and then have you guys review it one last time for before you guys merge it.
Sounds good. And then the other piece of that is we have an open issue to trigger those tests off of the actual Docker manifest job. Right now, these are just triggered off of the main pipelines, which makes not a whole lot of sense at the moment because the Docker builds aren't triggered from the main pipelines. I've created issues in the build repo and in the Docker repo to question whether we should just coordinate and run the Docker process from the main build pipeline. So I need to get people on the build team and Docker team to respond about that, but I'm not going to block this work on getting an answer there. I think we can still proceed with all of these pull requests and get us closer to being able to say we have the process in which to move the Docker images out of unofficial into official. Let's proceed. Yeah. Okay.
I guess one question I did have is going forwards, right? We had the revamp, and then we'll also need to handle base images, right? Like how we're gonna actually handle all the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think Joseph is on the call today, but he had worked off of my branch where I had I had taken one subdirectory and done something there. I think he had some ideas on what he wanted to do, how we could do that in as efficient a way as possible. I'll connect with him because I can proceed with my branch, but if he has something else in mind, I'd like to talk to him so we don't collide or we don't do duplicate work. But yeah, that's the other piece. There's the expansion of these tests, if for everybody's awareness, is actually I don't know why that's gonna do that for me. Is captured under 1109. I should draw a picture of what that test matrix looks like. It's pretty wild because it's not just saying we want to test additionally the UBI and Alpine images. It's also expanding out because right now we're only running tests on the x86 architectures. This would be also expanding to the other architectures, so Z and P and Xboxes. So for sure, we need extra steps here, but I need to coordinate with, or I want to coordinate with Joseph. If I can't get a hold of him or if he's busy and we won't take his work, I'll put my first cut in and then we can build off of what's been pushed to master, if that sounds okay. Everyone here. So yeah, I have a branch. I haven't created a draft pull request for that issue for expanding into the other images, but I can plan to create one within the next week. Okay, looking at our time, 13 minutes left. Let's do a quick check-in on these other topics. If we're good here for now, again, I think we'll merge what the open PRs we have in the next day or 2 days, and then follow up with the one that expands to Alpine and UBI and the other Debian and on the other images that are in unofficial. I think we may have to visit what is available for machines that have Docker installed as well. I've started tagging them appropriately, but I haven't gone through the full set. Okay, next up, Upcoming changes.
Sorry, Shelley, to interrupt. Are you recording it? You got a request, as I noticed in the Slack channel.
I am recording it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me though. Okay. Let's roll around to Lan and Longyu and others who are doing some upcoming changes in TRSS. Did you want to share your screen? I can stop sharing.
I don't need. Okay. I was thinking we're just gonna do a quick update this time, so I'm not
Sure.
anything.
Okay.
But here.
That's fine either way. I know Longyu had was also going to show the test compare view, just because I think there are things in TRSS that people aren't aware, features they could be using. But we could do that in another call.
Sure. So basically, some of the highlights are just for those that don't know what TRSS is basically the test result summary service, supposed to be a scene layer sit on top and to monitor different Jenkins activities. We're going to expand that for Azure. That's coming up. But for now, it's mainly monitor Jenkins. Some of the highlights work that Longyu and Renfei helped us develop basically is we show the possible issue links now for each test. So we do the Git search for you. If the test failed, then we will have a link to the Git search. That's already complete, and that's pull request 170. I will post all the links later. And then we reorganize and rename the menus on the TRSS so people will be able to match them with its functionalities. So that's issue 164. And also we add comments in the build table so that people can add comments if they want to say link to certain issues, for example. And that's completed as well. And that's issue 163. All those will show up once the server is updated next time. I'm thinking after the release, so sometime later this week. Once the server is updated, then you will see the UI reflect in terms of the change. Upcoming task that we have is we're gonna provide a test summary page for reporting failures. So in the TRSS, we're thinking to provide you, because we have all the information such as Java version, rerun links, and all that. So we're thinking to create a link directly to Git so that you can easily grab the content and open issue. Do you guys have anything to add on top of that? Okay, so I guess that's it for TRSS. Any questions?
I know there must be questions.
I do have one from what you were just saying, Lan, about the feature to, if I understood correctly, have a kind of helper for raising a new issue. I was also wondering whether it would be possible to gather the information from all of the jobs to just kind of produce a triage report of what all the failures are.
I guess that's what we're planning to do, so that we will. So let's say station test failures. Yeah.
So Simon, it's issue 169. So it will be a summary page in the view that can also produce a bug report.
Cool.
We're basically gonna follow the template. I know we're still working on a template to finalize the template, but we try to get close to the template, and then so people can just have the exact same information they need for reporting a bug.
Yeah. So just the heads up, as people look at this menu is going to be updated. So because FV test isn't really the appropriate name for what this view is, this will actually move to the top, be the default view, because it's the main starting point for triaging. And this will be called by pipeline because it's showing each of the pipelines off of Adopt. So that's the view you have by pipeline. In the future, we will have a view by Java version info. so that it's not restricted to a single pipeline, but everything that's tagged with particular version in ID. But anyway, that's just to give you a preview. Those menu updates will land very soon, and then we'll point people in the Slack channel to it so they know what to be aware of.
Yeah, I just sent a chat in the chat channel, basically a message of all the issues I just mentioned.
Great, thanks. And I'll update the minutes with them after the call. Excellent. All right. I guess the update for Test Kit Gen from Renfei. There's a few things going on.
Oh yeah. So recently we have separated our test framework, Test Kit Gen, from OpenJ9 repo and migrated it to its own repo at AdoptOpenJDK/TKG. So with the TKG in its own repo, we have brought some enhancement features for the TKG. A major enhancement feature for the recent is it captured in the issue 25 in TKG. Yeah. So we used to generate all make files for all targets before executing a specific make target. This approach requires an extra step, which is the make-f run config.mk before testing. And now it is because of some legacy reasons. Now we have a change to the TKG. We no longer need this make run config.mk. We can directly run the make target, and it will generate the targets on the fly. So with this changing, it makes the TKG more simpler and faster and takes less disk space. And it can also be a step to move forward to the parallel testing in the future. So another change I'm working on is to reduce some generated disk space for the TKG. And this is the next change for the TKG update. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. And as most of you probably know, this is the underlying framework that allows us to run all of the different types of tests that we run in as part of the AQA set. So every, performance OpenJDK, we wrap it with a TKG wrapper so that we're able to automate the running of these tests more easily and able to run them locally using the same patterns. So you don't have to know how to use the underlying test frameworks of each one of these things in order to be able to run tests. Okay, great. Let's we've got 4 minutes left. So what I wanted to do is just briefly mention that we're in the middle of a test doc overhaul. Given what we've heard today, there's a lot of changes coming up. So I've actually put a hold on this. I have this PR in draft. People are welcome to look at it. It's not ready to go yet, but I will make another pass at this now that we're at the point where we've delivered a bunch of the changes talked about today. Once I get this up and opened into a real PR, I'll send a note to Slack to get lots of eyes on it for people to say, what do you think may be missing? What questions still aren't answered for you? And then we can do multiple passes of improvements here. Having said that, the last point I'd like to bring up would be, one, are people interested in continuing to get together and talk about test issues? Obviously, we may have less topics in each meeting and talk in more depth on a particular topic, depending on what's happening, what's currently active. But having said all that, are there people who would like to continue getting together? Should I make this a recurring bi-weekly meeting? If you feel strongly yes, maybe just put a note in this item or just say something right now. I think I will try to do that unless people find it onerous. And if you think you want to attend a regular meeting, but this schedule isn't working for you, please also let me know. We can probably try to accommodate something.
I'd like to continue
Yeah.
joining the meeting.
Okay, great. Is this time work for you, Jennifer?
How often is the meeting again?
Probably every couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I think we should start on a bi-weekly, and then if we can drop it to monthly, or we can increase it depending on how active things are. But I think bi-weekly, and then if people, I guess what I'll say is if people are actively working on stuff, I hope they would attend. If you're not actively working on stuff, obviously it's an optional thing for everyone. So tap in if you're if you're working on something actively, and don't feel obligated to join if you're not. All right, so I think I'll proceed with a schedule of bi-weekly at the same time, day, and schedule, unless I hear strongly otherwise. Any other topics that people wanted to hit in this last minute or wanted to put on the next meeting's agenda? Did we miss anything? Otherwise, if you think of anything, throw it into a comment on this issue, and I'll continue to track these meetings just by opening an issue, adding some notes, and then closing the issue. I'll also tag these with a meeting label so that you can always go back and look at the history of what we talked about. The recordings I'll try to post publicly so that people, and put a link to it in this as a comment, so that people can find it if they've missed meetings or if they want to find out what we're doing. Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining. If there's nothing else, we'll call it a close and talk to everyone in the Slack channels. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Shelly.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
Bye.